Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Jude Wharton is based in Hampshire and is the co-founder of Ready Steady Websites. Her first experience of networking was not a good one, but she's come back to it and now she really enjoys it. Thank you very much for being my guest on the podcast today, Jude.
Thank you for having me. It's really great to be here.
Now, your current business is all about websites, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But what did you do before you got into websites? I believe you worked for a local council, is that right?
I did, yeah. I spent 10 years in various roles in education, youth work and children's services, all for the local authority. And so, yeah, very different to what I do now. I started as a youth worker, working in youth clubs, information centres. I did street-based youth work, managed a street-based team and the schools-based youth work in the area. And then I really liked working face-to-face with young people, but I think I definitely had a shelf life for that. My patience and tolerance levels got tested. I worked with a lot of young people who were close to exclusion or had been excluded. So obviously it was quite challenging. And so then I went into youth work training and decided I'd train other people to do it instead of doing it myself. So I'm still helping, just slightly more indirectly. And then just with restructures that happened within the local authority, I ended up in training and development for children's services. Then I ended up doing procurement to procure training providers for areas where I didn't have the expertise. And then went into sort of managing in project groups. I mean, I ended up involved in kind of writing strategy for efficiencies for libraries and things like that. So yeah, I did a lot of things that were all completely not related to websites.
So how did you make that leap into websites then? What made you want to become self-employed and sort of do your own thing?
Okay, so my husband was a web designer straight out of university. He'd then sort of gone through a couple of different agencies, and it was at the point of us deciding to start a business. He was a studio manager for an agency that worked with a lot of big corporates in London, a lot of car manufacturers, a lot of banks, and we were expecting our first child, and neither of us had a work-life balance that meant we were going to see this child very often. He would sometimes leave at 5 a.m. and get back at midnight. He'd be up in London and things like that. We could be anywhere in the county having to set up or deliver training events or conferences, and Hampshire is a big county, so sometimes you have to leave early in the morning and you don't get back till later. Not as late as midnight, I hasten to add. So we just decided that we needed to change the way that our work-life balance worked. He had always liked the idea of setting up his own web company. I had all that project management, procurement and all of that experience behind me. And so we went, well, let's do it then. Let's both give up very good full-time salaries when we're expecting our first child and start a business. And that's what we did. So obviously he was the one with the web expertise. That was 13 years ago, and I have picked up a lot. I still very much focus on the running the business, marketing the business and that side of things. But yeah, I do a lot around the user experience of websites and sort of supporting people with that side of things as well. But he's very much the designer and the developer of the two of us.
That's a pretty scary decision to make, though, to both of you give up your jobs at once.
Yeah, and at the time it didn't, I don't know, we just went for it and did it and probably didn't think about it enough. But I think it's good we didn't, because it worked out all right. You know, 13 years later, we are still in business and it has been our sole income that whole time, and it's worked. And we have 2 children now, and it has definitely provided the work-life balance we wanted. You know, we can be at the many things the school invites you to, so our children never feel like that they've been forgotten or left out. And we're really grateful for that. So it works.
Yeah. So tell me about that first iteration of your business 13 years ago, because I imagine it looked quite different to how it does now.
Very different. So when we started, we operated as a mini agency doing bespoke web design and builds, offering branding services. We worked on a project by project basis. We did pick up some retainers, so we did have a monthly retainer with some clients. But on the whole, it was that exchanging time for money approach in business. We were experiencing big peaks and troughs of, we worked with some people who were on retainer with, and they were amazing at also bringing other clients to us. And so we had some periods when we were working with them that was all fantastic. But, when those projects came to an end, those retainers came to an end, and they changed focus slightly in their business, then suddenly it was like, oh, well, we were very reliant on them for a while, and now we've got to go and find new people again. And, that was hard. And so we realised after a few years that we needed to try and bring in sort of a more stable, perhaps more passive income stream to go alongside that. So we started designing WordPress themes and selling them on ThemeForest, which is a theme marketplace, which is plug-in and all sorts of web things marketplace, really. And that worked really well for a while. We were putting our themes out there, people were loving them, it was bringing us in a lovely passive income. But then the big players brought out their themes like Astra Theme, and then Divi and Elementor came along, and that blew our little blogging themes and small business themes and everything out of the water, really. And so we realised we were going to have to find something else. And then we sort of came upon the idea of creating Ready Steady websites, which is our off-the-shelf website and membership site template service. So we kind of say it's the middle ground between completely doing it yourself, just getting a theme and trying to do it yourself, or going and using the others that are out there, like Wix and Squarespace. And the in between that and getting someone to completely do it for you, like we were doing. And we still do for some people who really do need bespoke. And we also found that we were already working with a lot of people who were essentially coming to us for the same website over and over again. They were pushing themselves to be able to afford bespoke, and they didn't really need it. And so, we thought Ready Steady websites is a great option. It gives that good quality, that high level of support, but it works in a way that kind of people really understand how their website works. They're putting it together themselves, putting the content in themselves, but with us there to support them. But it means that down the line, when, inevitably small businesses and entrepreneurs have a new idea, they have a new project they want to add, they want to put a new landing page up, it means they can do it themselves because of the way that we've structured our business. So we've had to move with the times in the web world. It will continue to change. Goodness knows whether in 5 years' time, Ready Steady websites will still be the right way for us to do business. We shall see.
So how long ago did you start Ready Steady websites?
So we launched that in 2019, so it's just over 4 years ago now. It really took off quickly and very quickly became the main focus of our business rather than doing the bespoke work. Now we do really just take on a couple of bespoke projects a year and just a few branding projects a year, because Ready Steady websites is what we find people want the most. Even people who come to us not knowing about Ready Steady websites and they just know they want a website, when we talk to them, even if they need a little bit extra, a little bit something special, they can start with Ready Steady websites and we can build on top of it, meaning that the project is much more cost effective for them. It is a really good offering, really.
So who do you find that your customers are? Are they tend to be smaller businesses, and are they from any particular sector at all?
So they are smaller businesses, or we have quite a lot of solopreneurs. And we didn't go out to get a specific sector. When we started, we created, I think we put 6 templates out there. We've now got 14 website templates just aimed at sort of different sectors like photographers or small businesses or authors, podcasters. But we have naturally, because of the people that we've worked with who have loved us and then talked about us, we naturally have picked up a lot of nutritional therapists. I feel almost qualified myself with the amount of nutritional therapy websites that I've looked at and read the copy of. So yeah, a lot of nutritional therapists and sort of people generally in kind of the wellness industry. We've got quite a lot of authors. We naturally, a couple of authors came to us and they were both Hay House authors. That was their publisher. And then through them, Hay House now actually recommend us. So yeah, and actually ION, the Institute of Optimum Nutrition, also recommend us as well. So we're building on the nutritional therapists. We're just going to keep getting more. But they're all lovely, so it's not an issue. So yeah, quite a lot in the wellness industry, authors and speakers. Again, we've done a lot of work with a speaker agent. And so we do get a lot of speakers as well, but we do have quite a range. You know, we have. I like the range. I like the variety of people that we get on there, because it's interesting to see from a template how different the websites can be at the end. So yeah, it is really interesting.
Yeah. So your diet must be fantastic now then, Jude.
Well, yes. That's actually, I picked up some tips from them. I have to say, I have a few chronic illnesses, and a lot of them do specialise in working with people with chronic illnesses. So it has been really good to see the tips and stuff that they get and their recipes and things. So yeah, I have picked some things up.
Do you think there are any businesses these days that can get away with not having a website at all?
Ultimately, no. Not if you want to grow and expand and to kind of be taken seriously, really. I think, obviously you can start, and if you're doing something where you can kind of chuck something up on social media and talk to your mates about it, and they'll all buy a bit of stuff from you, whatever you like. I've got friends who do sort of hobby craft businesses and things like that. And yeah, obviously we all support each other and go, oh, buy one and take it to the school fair and sell it there, that kind of thing. So you can start a business without a website, absolutely. But I think if you're getting to the point that you want to be taken more seriously, or you don't want to be, a lot of people will start on something like Etsy if they're selling things, or they'll find other marketplaces relevant to what they do. But your problem there is that they're taking a nice chunk of your money that you're earning. And so at some point, you're going to want to be in control of that, really, and be selling stuff through your own website. I think if you're a business-to-business business, then other businesses are looking for your website. They're not going to want to just be contacting you through Instagram or through Facebook. Also, we've seen that Twitter is having an interesting time at the moment, and you don't know what's going to happen with the other social platforms as well. And so if you're relying on social platforms, you're putting your business in somebody else's hands there. And so it really, really is important, I think, to have a website. And, I've spoken to people who have nothing to do with websites in their business, and they've said to me they won't buy from a business unless they've gone and checked their website out first. And they've gone and seen that, they are definitely serious about their business. You can tell they've put the time and effort into the website. It gives a sense that the business is going to have longevity, and they can have a look at their terms and conditions on there and things like that before they jump in and decide to buy. So yeah, I think, if you're really serious about your business and you want it to be around for a while, you have to have a website.
Yeah, it gives you credibility, doesn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a chat about networking now then. I understand that your first experience of networking wasn't that great.
No, it was pretty awful. So thinking back to, this was sort of probably, 12 years ago, 12 and a half years ago. I was not long out of, I had worked in different areas of the local authority, but at heart I was still a youth worker. Youth workers don't wear suits. And actually I did work with one youth worker who did, but he was a bit out there. So I rocked up to this first networking just dressed in my jeans and I probably tried to put a slightly smarter jumper on the top, but I was just there as me. And it was at a local business park, and I turned up and I was significantly younger than everybody else there. I was virtually the only woman there, and I was definitely the only person not in a suit. And we had this like little talk to start off with, which was fine. Like someone did a little presentation. I think it might have been about pensions. Clearly didn't interest me that much because it didn't stick in my head. And then everyone just sort of talked at each other and just basically tried to sell whatever they were there to try and sell.
Yeah.
And I just sort of absorbed all of this and just thought, no, this is not for me. And I didn't go back, and I didn't do networking for quite a couple of years after that. But then I met a woman who runs a Hampshire Women's Business Group, and which is an online Facebook group, but also she did in-person networking. And so I went along to her networking, and that was lovely. Everyone just turned up in whatever they wanted to turn up in. Obviously, it was all women based on the name of the group. And it was just, we chatted. We asked each other about what our businesses were, but we had conversations like we just had, like, oh, why did you get into it?
Yeah.
And just found out about each. And that is still a group that I'm part of today. Then we went on to online networking, obviously, for a few years. And now we've come back, and like we don't do the in-person as frequently, but the in-person is back. Still good chats in the Facebook group. And that group really made me realise, okay, there's good networking out there. So now, obviously, we've met through the Creative Collective, and I do a couple of other networking as well. Basically, I'm a member of 2 female business groups and 2 networking groups that are everybody groups. And there have been in other groups over the years that I've gone, no, these ones aren't right for me, and I've left. But I feel like I've found my good 4 ones now, and I'm just going to stick and focus with those. So,
And what do you find that networking does for your business?
I think on the whole, I mean, it's different for different groups actually. So in a couple of the groups, I get loads of work out of them. Like I've got really known in them, and whenever someone goes, oh, I need a new website, my name is in there as one of the first mentioned. But that took a while to come, obviously. Like it was about building those genuine friendships in there first. And then a couple of other groups, like the work doesn't come in the same way, but the opportunities do. So I've had quite a lot of people ask me to do this kind of thing out of those groups. I've had people asking me to run training for them around websites. I still managed to keep my old training days coming back into this job as well. And then those opportunities get me out to more people. And also it's just kind of having those people to talk to that you know who get it. And as much as I work with Chris, my husband, it's still just the 2 of us. And sometimes he's off doing things and I spend a day working by myself. And it's nice to go, oh, do you know what? I've got networking booked in this afternoon. That would be great. And just have a bit of a chat, lift my spirits, kind of wake me up a little bit because I've been sitting here by myself. And so, there's so many reasons to do networking. And I think they're all as valid as each other and needed, I think, when you're working on your own or just with one other person. I think, the different groups are there for different reasons, but all of them, I feel, have got a real positive outcome.
Yeah. And you say, all the groups that you go to are different. And I think that's true, isn't it? And you have to try a few things to find out what works for you. Yeah,
definitely. And like, obviously the group we belong to is mad, and that's brilliant. Like, I know I'm going to go to networking and I am going to have conversations in there that I will definitely not have anywhere else this week. And that's brilliant because you need that fun in business as well. But then, I'll go to the other groups and I know it'll be much more sensible, like finding out about people's business chat, but also that's fantastic as well. And like, it's just how the different groups are, the different vibes. I think the vibes of the group just form naturally based on who leads them, and like attracts like, obviously. And, but yeah, it's just good to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So If somebody wants to connect with you, Jude, what is the best way for them to find you and Ready Steady websites?
I mean, it's not going to be a shock when I say through our website. Our website is readysteadywebsite.com. And essentially, we are Ready Steady Websites wherever it's worth finding us. So we are on Instagram and Facebook as Ready Steady Websites. We also have a YouTube channel as Ready Steady Websites where we put various tips and things on there. So those are the best places to find us.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for being my guest today, and I'm sure our paths will cross again at a networking event soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.